Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Karen Bermas, and I will be your host for today's session. Just some quick check-in. I'd like to ask you guys, where are you joining us from today? Mine, I am actually logging in from Rizal. Anyone here, please type in your location in the chat box. All right. So how about you guys? Good morning, everyone. What's your location right now? Caloocan, Joanne. Taguig, Alex. Anyone from here? Dexter, Bacoor, Cavite. Wow. I think a lot of us are located in the southern part, right? Charles from Cavite too. Wow. QC. We also have from Pasig, Mandaluyong, Pasay. A lot of us here are from south, right? Wow. Good morning, everyone. And we also have one, Nina from Makati. Subic, wow. See, we are now connected in this webinar across, across the Philippines, right? So, all right. So thanks for participating. And I hope you are feeling great today, just like me. But before we get started, here are some housekeeping notes. So a listen-only mode during the presentation of the speaker is encouraged. While you have questions in mind at any point of the presentation of our speakers, please don't hesitate to type them in the chat box. So we will also address it towards the end of this session during our Q&A. A recorded version of this webinar will be also available on our site for those who wasn't able to join us today. And for those of you just joining us, welcome again. We have an exciting session just for all of you today. And that will allow you to get all the detailed insights from our experts into these security tools and furnish you with specifics on our offerings. So without further ado, allow me to introduce to you our Microsoft Digital Transformation Director of Asia Pacific, Nina Tan, for the opening remarks. A round of applause, please. Good morning, Nina.
Good morning, Karen.
Good
Hello.
morning.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Yes.
you.
Okay, thank you for that, Karen. So to our dear customers, thank you for joining us today to this webinar about how to protect your business with Microsoft Security's comprehensive protection. So today, we will, help you to understand, right, on how we can actually modernize our security to be able to, defend our data against, latest threats And as part of this, we will also be, tackling on how we can actually manage an incident, right, and analyze the data using the Azure Sentinels. So from the past few months, we are, slowly adapting to the unsecured world of, digital. So take note, unsecured, right? So why I said so. Personally, recently, we've been receiving multiple messages from, different platforms, either it's text or, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, Viber, right? Or even our email about, some information about, with links, to be clicked or some attachments to be open, right? So which, most of us or most of people, right, especially those unaware are, becoming a victim of these threats. So either, our personal data is compromised or, our company data is being compromised. So, and this, significant social change has only increased during this pandemic. So we all know that, right? So with the rapid growth of, this digital ecosystem or digital, digital world also comes with a significant increase, in cybersecurity risk. So with this, there should be some, measure in place for us to, how to mitigate this kind of risk. So of course, number one, so we need to, create a greater awareness about this, cybersecurity context. So as a company, we also need like to, maybe generate and analyze, right, a local data on, cybersecurity practices and incidents to, to identify some gaps and, provide some appropriate, solutions maybe, right? So and I think we also need to adapt some minimum information on cyber, security standards, right? Especially for, those critical infrastructure. So if we can also develop a cybersecurity, culture by, raising awareness and instilling cybersecurity as our way of life. And lastly, I think we really need to take these actions into like considerations since this risk will for sure affect those people who are working from home and those people who are dealing with e-commerce, those people who are dealing with digital banking, and those students who are engaged with online learnings. So basically those people are us, our colleagues and our family. So why softline? So why are we here as Softline, right? So we are here to help you and guide you with that journey of, ensuring our data are secured from these, cybersecurity threats. So to be able to, help you with that journey, so we need to ensure that we have this, level of expertise and knowledge on security. And we are very proud to say that, Softline is highly capable. Softline Philippines has been awarded with Microsoft Security Excellence with a proof of security expert who has the right skills with a, a proof of, a proof of level of certifications. Yeah. So, and anyway, so I think with the number of cases also, right, and skills and certifications that we have. So we are also a member of, Microsoft Intelligence Security Association, or we call that as MISA, right? So with the acknowledgement of our, capabilities in the areas of cybersecurity and cloud governance. So as a Microsoft Global Partner and, with presence in APAC region, so we are also awarded with Partner of the Year for the three countries such as Cambodia, Malaysia, and Vietnam. So Softline also, Softline Philippines also has won the Azure Customer Recruit for helping different customers to migrate to cloud. So aside from being a Microsoft Gold partner, so we're also certified with 10 Microsoft Advanced Specializations. So anyway, to get this these specializations, right, with especially with Microsoft, so there are certain requirements such as the level of partnerships with Microsoft, and the number of successful customer cases, and the number of experts with level 200 certifications. So to give you some background about Softline, so we are, a global leader. Um, uh, Sorry, Karen, can you? Yeah. Yeah, so this is a little bit about us. So, we are a global leader in the space of cybersecurity and digital transformation. So with key different resources, partners who is, helping us to become one Softline. So like our customers like you or our partners like, Microsoft, and other key vendors, right? Our very own softliners with, different levels of skills and specializations and our global alliances. So our headquarters is based in London, and we are, more than 25 years in the business with presence into like 60 countries, 100 cities, and 14 delivery centers around the world. So our main key differentiation is a combination of, our scalability, capabilities, and offerings. So we are also, if you can, Karen, if you can also, go to the next slide. So we are partnering with over 6,000 vendors with leading, vendors like Microsoft and other hardwares or software vendors with, the different partnership that we have defined, our advantage. So, so these are the anyway. So Karen, yeah. So these are the partial list of our, customers. Sorry, next slide, please. These are the partial list of our customers globally and in Philippines. Like we have like over 100 customers who is, actually trusting us. And then next slide, please. So these are the services and solution that we offer to our customers, and I would like to highlight here our cybersecurity services practice, our cloud solutions and services practice. We also have our few digital transformation solutions. So in terms of software, we can also help you with the licensing and other software solutions. And we are also capable of delivering modern hybrid infrastructure Microsoft solutions such as Microsoft 365, Azure, Power Platform, Microsoft Security, our technical support locally. We also have our own premier services delivery to cater, 24 by 7 or 8 by 5 support, depending on your need. And if there's anything from here that, creates an interest to you, please feel free to reach out to us. Our details will be shared by the end of the session. So that will be all from my side, Karen. So once again, thank you and good morning. Over to you, Karen.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nina, for that wonderful opening remarks as well, and sharing up a little bit about Softline and why Softline. All right. So we believe that it is no longer acceptable to deliver anything less than the comprehensive security against digital threats, right? And threats can come from anywhere, whether bad actors trying to compromise your credentials and breach, right? And or your employees not following privacy and encryption standards on your organization. So it only takes one weak link to wreak damage. Here's how Joanne McCallas, our security technical specialist, will take you through how organizations can manage threat landscape and from end to end, and providing you with the most integrated and comprehensive security compliance and identity solution. Please give her a round of applause. Joanne, good morning.
Hi, hi everyone. Thanks, Karen, for the very, nice introduction. Right. So, good morning, everyone. No, I would like to thank all of you for attending this security webinar that Softline, we really prepared it for all of you. Yep. So going back with our main topic, no, is to modernize our security, no, and to also defend against any kind of cyber threats. Okay. But before that, let's discuss first, what are this following transformation that we have experienced over the past few years. So first is the what we call the digital transformation. It is a process of using these digital technologies that we are currently using now to create new or to modify those existing our business processes, our culture, and of course, most importantly, our customer experiences, of course, to meet the changing business and market requirements. Okay, so this is we can also consider is as reimagining of our business within this digital stage. So this is what we call the digital transformation. Then of course we have here the cloud transformation. All right. So this one is a process of migrating our business. So from the traditional approach wherein all of our servers, our users, our applications, no, are residing within our on-premises network. to locating them or migrating them over to the cloud. So this can as well be a lengthy process, this so-called cloud transformation. It doesn't mean simply switching to a cloud-based solution. Then lastly, of course, the thing that we are going to discuss this morning, the security transformation. So with this two transformation, the digital transformation and cloud transformation, of course, we have to revamp on the way how we secure our resources. So this is the part which in um, security transformation kicks in. So it is a term used to describe a profound shift in the IT industry. It would be easy enough to say that our IT security has become more important or that there are more security considerations, right? But the security transformation is more about the qualitative shift. No, it is a different way of thinking about IT security. On this part, it enables us to rapidly reduce the cybersecurity risk and any confidentially adopt to new digital technologies to support our strategic goals. So this will be our main focus for this morning. Okay. So of course, with all of this transformation, that we've discussed, there comes these challenges, right? So first is um, the increasingly sophisticated attacks, right? I think we're pretty much familiar with this one. Wherever you run your workloads, the attack keeps getting more and more sophisticated. You have to secure your public cloud, your workloads in there, which are in effect an internet facing workloads, right? That can leave you even more vulnerable if you don't follow those security best practices. And then second one is the traditional security, which is not designed for the cloud. No, what we really have at before, when all of our workloads, all of our servers are in the traditional model, those security tools, when we bring them over to the cloud, no, they're not designed for that. So as the traditional environment, which says both employees and solutions based on premise, changes irrevocably, and we can see both critical applications and data moving to the cloud. Then those old-fashioned perimeter security just doesn't cut it anymore. Dynamic, scalable, and distributed multi-cloud environments. They require new policies. And then overall, rethink before users lose all this sense of trust and security becomes our major issue. And then lastly is the volume of signal and tooling complexity. It is very overwhelming. With all those um, tools, when we move to the cloud, it's not just for example, one single cloud vendor that we go into. It's usually two or more. So with those multi-cloud scenario, so there comes this a lot of tools, no, which brings us the complexity on how are we going to use those tools. So these are our challenges when we're navigating over this transformation. But yeah, this is where Microsoft, security will help us. So how do we transform security? So this is the Microsoft approach. So first is to deliver rapid intelligent results, right? So from alerts to incidents, most of those could be automated if you're familiar with what we call the self-healing, the self-remediation resolves. No, those most of those incidents can be resolved. 75% of those can be resolved automatically, which will help your team stay focused. And then next is the integrated security tools, now for us to detect, protect, and investigate, as well as to remediate those incidents. And then lastly is to secure all clouds, all platforms. As I've mentioned earlier, um, most of you that don't just dwell on a single cloud vendor. It would always be two or more for redundancy, for recovery. So it could be that you're using your subscription in Azure, Google Cloud Platform, or AWS. It could be you're running servers with Windows operating system, Linux, no, or when we're talking about mobile devices, you're using iOS, Android. So it will always be multi-cloud, multi-platform. So this three is Microsoft approach when we're talking about security transformation. And then of course, how does Microsoft, help us to defend against these threats? Of course, it will always revolve around this principle, the zero trust approach. To never trust, always verify. Right? So with this, yeah, if you're familiar with the solution, the SIEM, or the Security Information and Event Management. So these two, SIEM and the XDR, will be our main security solutions for this morning. So my colleague Alex will tackle more detailed information about SIM later on after I discuss. But for my part, I will be um, discussing more on about the XDR. So XDR is our extended detection and response. So it is a software as a service tool, that offers holistic, optimized security by integrating our security products and data into a simplified solutions. When we put Microsoft solution in it. So what we have here for the SIEM solution is the Microsoft Sentinel. And then for the XDR, we have here a combination of Microsoft 365 Defender and Microsoft Defender. All right. So for the XDR, this XDR systems offers numerous capabilities, that broaden an enterprise's security, threat protection, and remediation capabilities. So most of its capabilities includes the correlated incidents, the analytics, for the automated detection and response, of course, with the inclusions of AI and machine learning capabilities. There comes the auto healing of affected assets. So um, most or top XDR use cases that we can think of first is to detect endpoint device vulnerabilities. Beside from the identities or the credentials, our username and passwords, that we're using to access an application or our corporate data. Another point of attack for the attackers are our endpoint devices. So that's one of the top XDR use cases. Next is to hunt threats across domains, and then investigate any kinds of security events, perform endpoint health checks, predict future attacks. Gone are the days that were more on the reactive side. But now, it's very important for us to shift to a proactive way of thinking for us to predict these future attacks. And then lastly is to prioritize and correlate those kind of alerts that we can get using these following tools. Okay. So for the Microsoft Sentinel as a SIEM, it will help us to collect security data and cloud scale and integrate with our existing tools. Leverage AI to detect emergent threats and to respond rapidly with built-in orchestration and automation. So more information about Microsoft Sentinel. Of course, it collects security data. It can pinpoint your external attack surface reduction, right? And then yes, for the Microsoft 365 Defender, it could help us to stop attacks before they can occur. Those common attacks that we experience. If we just have the right tool, and if it's configured right within our environment, we can always stop those prominent attacks. We can, if we have the capability to detect and automate those um response and incidents, and then Of course, with the help of Microsoft 365 Defender, we can do hunting, threat hunting across all of our Microsoft 365 data. And then together with that, we can view alerts and remediate across our Microsoft 365 environment in a single dashboard. So later on during our demonstration, I'll let you see, what's this single management dashboard that I am talking about with regards to Microsoft 365 Defender. Okay. So one key component of Microsoft 365 Defender is what we call the Microsoft Defender for endpoint. So this is our solution with regards to protecting our endpoints, our devices. Could be it Windows 10, Windows 11 devices, or even your mobile devices, iOS, um, Mac, Mac OS, Linux, Android devices. So this is our security solution to protect those devices that we have. And then next is we also have here the Microsoft Defender for Office 365. So this is our solution, no, on the front end of the cybersecurity attack kill chain. So this could protect our emails, with the help of capabilities like safe link, safe attachment, those spam filtering, anti-spoofing, phishing. So this is our front end protection. All right. And then talking about Microsoft Defender. So this is our security solution with regards to your resources in the cloud. So could be it Microsoft Azure, AWS, or Google Cloud. You can use or integrate Microsoft Defender into those following cloud vendors that I have mentioned. Right? And then of course, ayan, if we dwell on to the integration with SIEM and XDR protection with regards to Microsoft solution, we could assure you that you have the best protection at a lower cost. As you can see here, you can get 201 ROI over 3 years, 48% less expensive compared to legacy SIEMs. The integration could always be, you know, a very hassle processes when it comes about on our vendor consolidation. But of course, with Microsoft solutions, we can assure you that it is deeply integrated, and then when it comes about the cost, of course, to continue, you can see 30% decrease in security tool spend and 50% reduced time to threat mitigation. And with Microsoft, position with regards to Gartner, as you can see here, Microsoft is a leader in 5 Gartner Magic Quadrant reports. We are a leader in access management, as well as in a cloud access security brokers, those CASBs, enterprise information archiving, endpoint protection platform, and unified endpoint management. So as you can see, Microsoft is on the leader quadrant of this 5 areas. And then when we're talking about, of course, SIEM and XDR solutions, Microsoft is of course still in the leader's placement in the Forrester New Wave, for the XDR and as well as for the SIEM for Azure Sentinel. And then as a summary, of course, first is to get ahead of threats with an integrated SIEM and XDR solution. The enterprise visibility and automations are keys to improving our security posture. And of course, to reduce our team fatigue, especially our IT team. And then lastly, the people, process, and metric focus will further strengthen your security operations. So let's always, plan about this kind of approach. And then for the next steps, yep, you can ask us offline to assess your environment with a cybersecurity assessment. Or you can, of course, request for a one-to-one security deep dive meeting. And please join us in the next security workshop or webinars that we will be conducting in the near future. And then, of course, for more resources, at the end of this webinar, we will be giving you a copy of this slides that we have presented, so you can get use of these resources. And that's it for my presentation. Let's go next to the demo environment. All right. Okay, so as you can see here on the screen, so this is our Microsoft 365 Defender portal. When if we I know some of you here already have a Microsoft 365 environment. If you want to see this, you can always go to this link, security.microsoft.com homepage. When I open my homepage here, so this is our just to let you know, this is our demo environment. So most of the features here will be disabled, but yeah, let me try my best to deliver this demonstration with you. Okay. So here on our home screen, we have here following cards. So we have here the threat analytics card, wherein it gives me a quick summary of the following threat that that we have within our environment. But of course, we can always, add cards. We can customize this part. And then, of course, I have here the active incidents. As you can see, I have 74 active incidents. Wow, it's a lot. And then, of course, a quick summary about these incidents, the severity here, the last activity and the scope. And then if I have any onboarded devices, so I can see it here, and yeah, discover devices and um, the Azure Sentinel integration, you know. So any actions or pending actions from the administrator side, I can see it here. And the next is we'll check within these incidents or alerts. So because most of the time, as an administrator or security administrator, I will usually go in here to check the newest or the latest incidents or those unresolved incidents that I currently have within my Microsoft 365 environment. So for this demonstration, as you can see here within the incidents alert, it gives me a summary of all of my alerts. So the incident name, the incident ID, the tags, and of course, one important field here is the severity. So as you can see here, there are a lot of high severity incidents, which of course I can filter. So for example, yeah, I also have here a medium severity alert, but for the purpose of this demo, let's check on this demo alert. All right, so I can also see here the impacted assets. So it could be a user, a mailbox, and then moving over to the side, the service sources, you know, um, as you can see here, where does this alert comes from? So it could be coming from your Office 365, or the Defender for Office 365. This could be, a lot of resources, which is um, part of the Microsoft 365 Defender, those solutions that I have mentioned earlier. And then the detection sources, the first and the last activity and the status. So if it's still active, if it's the issue has been resolved already, so you can see everything from here. Okay, so let's check this. Yep, this is specific alert. When I click on the alert name, I can see more information about this alert. The summary. And as you know, Microsoft 365 Defender is, um, aligned with the MITRE attack tactics. So as you can see here, the stages for the MITRE. So for this first stage, it is the initial access. The second stage, the execution. the persistent stage, privilege escalation, defense evasion up to the impact. You can see everything here, but for this specific incident, we can see that it is just on the initial access, the first part of the attack tactics. And then the scope, I can see here a summary of the scope of this alert or this incident. It has already impacted two of my devices and five of my users, and then one mailbox. And then top impacted entities, as I can see here, it is the mailbox of this specific user. And then more information, more detailed information about this alert. So the timeline, you know, um, about this alert, resolve a potentially malicious URL click, and then the more information about this. If I click on the alerts tab, I can see these three more correlated alerts about this specific alert. This mailbox which is being affected, and then for the evidence and response, let us just load it. Yep, I can see everything, so I can create an investigation, with regards to the root cause of this specific alert. So yeah, I can see here the graph for this alert. So the email, the email message says that it is a Microsoft sent email, but as you can see, there's a difference with there's something wrong with the title of the email. The Microsoft, it should be an O, but as you can see, it's like a number zero. The IP address being used, the recipient, and the link that is the malicious link that is included within this email message. Okay, so that's how we investigate alerts with Microsoft 365 Defender. And of course, if we have the proper, or we have the team, you know to do a threat hunting, or has the capability to do advanced threat hunting. Yep, we can do it within Microsoft 365 Defender. Those security engineers, that really dwells on the more on the proactive side, of cybersecurity. They can run queries here. They can to try to detect, or hunt a specific malware within our environment. Okay. And then of course, within this portal, we can do a lot more. So this includes all of our assets with regards to identities. So all our users, and how do we protect them, so we can monitor everything here, and as well as for our endpoints. But for this demonstration, there's no any onboarded device, but of course, within our environment, we can always configure this one. And then of course, when we're talking about email and collaboration, so this is more on the part of our Office 365 applications, our emails, our um, Word documents, Excel files, even our SharePoint and OneDrive. So we can see and track, those incidents with regards to those Office applications. So as you can see here, I can do a threat tracking on this specific queries. I can um, explore the specific alerts or incident that I have here. So this helps us to um, for example, there's an incident that happened within our environment. We can use this portal to do a threat investigation, and then at the end of it, we can provide a root cause analysis. Okay. Another thing that we have here within our Microsoft 365 Defender portal is our cloud applications. So all of our applications, that we have discovered and use Microsoft Defender for cloud apps too. So we can monitor those applications here, you know, the number of applications, the IP addresses, the number of users and devices that is using those applications, the traffic, and the vulnerabilities, of these applications. How do we make this application secure, to all of our users, and how do we want these applications to access our corporate data? So we can see everything here about those um, cloud applications. All right, and then for the reporting, of course, we can always download these templated reports, within the Microsoft 365 Defender. But of course, if we have the right capabilities, to generate or to customize the report, you can always do it within here. Okay, so I have here some questions. Let me just read this. Mm-hmm.
Jo, I'll help you. So there's
Okay,
first
thank you.
question here. Can Sentinel be integrated with other XDR products and devices? Which I think Alex already answered. But if you have any additional inputs, feel free.
Yeah, yes, Alex is correct. It can be integrated with other XDR products if
Mm-hmm.
you currently have, for you to leverage your existing investment.
Okay. So another thing is, do we still need a third-party NGAV if we avail the Microsoft 365, which included NGAV Defender? What's the best practice?
Sir Ernest, yes, you can still use your um third-party NGAV together with Microsoft 365. They can be integrated as well. Best practice, Sir Ernest, as long as you have the right, security solutions in place, it is configured well, it will always be the best practice. We don't dwell into a, single vendor capabilities, but if there is the right, proper integration being done, we can always assure you that it will be a best practice as long as there is someone to monitor or to manage that solution.
Okay, thanks, Jo. Um, Last two questions. Is Microsoft Defender better than acquiring a separate antivirus software?
Oh, this one is from Sir Marvin. Sir Marvin, Microsoft Defender is what we called with all Microsoft, security solutions. So if we're talking about Microsoft antivirus itself, so it is I believe it is Windows Defender. So it is always free. It always comes free with your Windows operating system. So your question, if it is better than acquiring a separate antivirus software, it depends on your use cases. But most of the organization, they acquire a separate antivirus software mainly because of the management. Because if you don't have the proper management tool to manage multiple devices or the antiviruses installed on these devices, you can't have the best control, or you can't secure, that your devices antiviruses software are up to date. um if it's better than acquiring separate, I can't say so. But of course, it's really better if you have the correct software, which is an antivirus, and the management console that comes within it, so that you can always monitor, you can control everything about that software.
Okay, so Sir Marvin, if Joe already answered the question, please type yes in the chat box so we'll know. Um okay. Another question from Sir Ernest. Does Microsoft has a security solution for IoT and OT devices?
Yes, Sir Ernest, Microsoft has it. We called it Microsoft Defender for IoT. We have that capability.
Okay. From Sir Dexter, do you have a holistic solution for implementing any security operation center or SOC managed or in-house?
So Sir Dexter, let me clear it. Is what you mean is the managed SOC? Okay. Okay. So with managed SOC, we have our for softline, we usually, it depends on the situation, it depends on the assessment, and the coverage of the scope. But we always have two options. First is what we call the ISOC. So ISOC is our softline's own managed SOC. So it is our information security operations center, wherein our colleagues from the global office, they do manage this ISOC. And then the other one is we have partnered with Blue Voyant. So so that one, you should also, with that, we partnered with Blue Voyant to manage the SOC, and to leverage as well your, for example, if you're using Azure Sentinel or any other SIEM from other vendor, and then any, for example, you have a separate XDR solution. So those two, the Blue Voyant managed SOC, and then the other one, our own ISOC.
Okay, thank you, Joe, for answering those questions very promptly and very accurately. And I hope you guys, Joe answered it correctly. So if you have any questions, comments, or clarification on Joe's discussion, please feel free to book a consultation with Joe. Just send an email to info.philippines@softline.com with the subject book a consultation dash June 23 webinar. Right. So our next topic is about Microsoft Sentinel, which lets you create advanced analytic rules that generate incidents that you can assign and investigate. Allow me to introduce to you our cloud solutions specialist, Alexander Gonzaga, to discuss more about managing incidents and analyzing those data through Microsoft Sentinel. Alex,
Hello. Good
good
morning.
morning.
Good morning, everyone. So today I will be discussing about the wait. Let me share my screen.
So,
Okay. Can you see my screen now?
yes.
Okay. So for this webinar, so I will be discussing how we can manage incident and analyzing data using Microsoft Sentinel. Okay. So nowadays most of the organization are faced with the incredibly difficult task of trying to protect their expanded digital state and from increasing cyber threat as well. So the move to cloud also for mobile workforce have pushed the border of your state beyond boundary of your physical network. So your data and user and system are everywhere. We all know that. And meanwhile, the frequency and sophistication of attacks are ever growing. And regardless of the size of your organization or your industry, you are a target of cyber attack. So some of the security operation challenges are composed of, for example, sophistication of threats. Um, we all know that regardless on which location we are, what we are accessing, for example, we are accessing email, are accessing data, or let's say on our infrastructure we already have firewall, we already have antivirus. So but that is not just the case. So there are threats in every location. We can say that we have this firewall, we have that antivirus, we are protected. Okay, so that's why earlier Joe also introduced the zero trust model framework, which we don't trust anywhere. Okay, and then next is the IT deployment and maintenance. So we all know if we are using, let's say for appliance, we have these physical devices. So there are maintenance to it. So we need to check the patches, the firmware. We need to take downtime on to update those type of devices. And then next is on the security side. We sometimes we have lots of solution that we manage. We have security solution for monitoring, for antivirus, or let's say for email if you have any spam filtering that you are using, or any type of security solution. So sometimes we manage, sometimes the solution is quite scattered. And then lastly, how we respond to those type of security incident. Um, Most of the security solution, they are relying on when they when during the once they monitor the infrastructure, they just that's a time they just react. Okay, so that is a reactive approach. So we have to be set up a proactive approach wherein once we detect threat or security or vulnerabilities, how we can immediately respond to it. That's how we can automate those type of incident. Okay, so that's why we introduce Microsoft Sentinel. So it can deliver instant value to you to your defender. So we have hundreds in built-in of dashboard. So it can connect regardless of what type of environment you have, whether you have an virtual machine in Azure, you have devices or virtual machine in AWS or on Google or VMware or on-premise. So Microsoft Sentinel have lots of API capabilities that can connect to any type of devices. So later during the demo, I will show it to you what type of solution uh, on which Microsoft Sentinel can be integrated. We also have the um, hunting capabilities. If you want to proactively check any threats on your environment, we have the analytics. We can customize what type of rules and incident we want to capture, and we can also deep dive conduct investigation to any incident that we want um, to check, and then scale to your support for growing digital state. So it enable you to collect and store, analyze all your security data with cloud scale and economics. So it scale automatically as data volume and compute needs to grow. So incremental growth of your burst during incident, and also no infrastructure cost needed or no upfront commitment you need. So you only pay what you use in Azure Sentinel. And then lastly, for Azure Sentinel, we use AI automation to improve effectiveness. So as mentioned, how we can respond to incident that we capture automatically. So for Microsoft Sentinel, it can leverage the automation solution. So later I will also share to you how we can automatically respond to any incident that we have, and it can detect threats you may have otherwise missed, and also it fuse alerts into actionable and prioritize incident to reduce alert fatigues. So some of the false positive incident can be eliminated as well. And how lastly, how we can apply those automation to reduce manual processes and also speed response. Also for Microsoft Sentinel, this is not just your typical SIEM. So it also have the security orchestration, automation, and response, or what we call SOAR. Okay, so it's not only just monitor the incident, how analyze the incident, but at the same time, how we can create an automation rule to remediate those type of security incident that we are capturing. So for Microsoft Sentinel, it is an end-to-end solution. So first, this is the phases that we need to configure. We need to connect to your environment. We need to regardless if you are using appliance firewall or next generation firewall. Next is after we connect to your environment, that's the time we detect the incident. So we have the analytics. So this is where we create our rules on how we want to detect. For example, we want to detect some anomalies and logins, who log in from different location, incident, something like a brute force attack, etc. So there are hundreds of analytics rule that we can leverage using Microsoft Sentinel. And also we can, not just only that, we can also customize if we are familiar, let's say from Python language or KQL queries, we can create our own rule as well. And then for thoroughly investigating the incident, we have the hunting capabilities as well. Okay, so for example, you want to proactively monitor who are, if there's some anomalies in login, if there's um, anonymous, let's say, or someone connecting to your environment that is not permitted. So there are hundreds also of hunting rule which we can leverage. So I will show it to you as well later. And then next is the incident. So once we created the rule, how we want to detect the security threats, so that's time we will check the incident. So under the incident, you can track, for example, on which IP the attacker is using, on which location the attacker is using, what type of attacks that they're trying to exploit your environment. So it also you can also further investigate that. And then lastly, the automation. So how we can react to those type of incident. Okay, so we can create automation or automated respond to those type of incident. For example, if we have Microsoft Defender, let's say we detect some anomalies on logins, we can connect it to Microsoft Defender, to automatically remediate those type of incident. Or if you have other let's say security solution that you are using, we can also connect that to Microsoft Sentinel. Okay, so this is how Microsoft Sentinel works. So first we need to collect. So we will connect to your environment. And then next that's the time we set up the detection and then the investigation and then how we can respond to those type of incident. We can create our automation rule for to remediate those incidents. So first under of visibility, so this is how you can connect. So as we can see here, we can connect to Azure, Microsoft 365 collectors for virtual machines, CF, Syslog, Windows, Taxi, and APIs. But this is not only what Azure Sentinel can do. So we can connect to any type of environment as well. So this is the sample dashboard which Microsoft Sentinel have. So we can also customize the our dashboard using workbooks. We can create our own query on how we can improve our dashboard. We can take advantage also of the template visual option. So okay, let me share to you how it looks like under Microsoft Portal. So basically, this is the view of Microsoft Sentinel. So you can see how many event the Microsoft Sentinel capturing to your environment, how many alert, how many incident, and then you can also filter the date on which you want to monitor. It also segregate the severity incident from medium, low to high. If you click the incident, you can see the affected um, affected solution on your environment, what type of IP, what type of users. Okay, you can thoroughly double check. Okay, but how you connect, how you create this kind of dashboard, or how you can have this kind of um, details or logs. So first you need to connect to your environment. So to connect, just click the data connectors. And then, for example, you want to create for AWS environment. So it can also connect to those type of environment. For example, you want to connect for some firewall appliance, like for example, Fortinet, Cisco, or let's say you want to connect to a virtual machine. This one. So if you want to connect a virtual machine, so once you connect to it, so you have an option. If you are using Azure, you can easily connect it. So you can select which virtual machine you want to connect. So, but unfortunately, I have only limited access, and this is only a demo environment. And then, for example, you want to connect to a non-Azure virtual machine. So what you can only do is to uh, connect or download this agent and install to your virtual machine, regardless it is VMware or AWS. So you can simply install this agent, and as long as you have the VPN or connectivity, and then that's the time you can integrate Azure Sentinel to that virtual machine. So it can connect even it is a Windows or Linux VM. Okay. So once you connect to this type of solution, so regardless, for example, even if it is a VMware solution, so this is where you can monitor or you can customize your dashboard. So under workbook, so there are hundreds of template which is available. For example, you want to monitor your Azure environment. So we have Azure Activity, Azure Audit, Azure Sign In, or for example, you have Azure Firewall, and then you want to customize the dashboard that you want to check. Okay, so from here, it segregates for the overview of firewall, application rule logs, net network rule logs, statistic, DNS proxy, Azure Firewall Premium IDS, and also for Azure Firewall investigation. So you can see which resources is connected, which network interface is monitored. Okay. And you can also customize this dashboard. And then you can filter also the timestamp which you want to monitor. Okay, so there are hundreds of workbook available depending on your solution. So for example, you connected, so you just need to check what is the connected devices from here. If you can also filter what the solution is connected. So as we can see here, we connect to Microsoft Defender for cloud, Defender for IoT. Even on Office 365, it can also monitor. We have the description here. What can we see on the logs? Okay. So for example, we want to connect to Office 365. So this is the prerequisite that we need to follow. You have access to subscription, you have the specific permission, and this is what we can check to Office 365, including Exchange, SharePoint, in Teams. We can also capture logs to it. Okay. And then next, after we connect it, so So let's say we already set up the visibility. So that's the time we need to set up the analytics rule. So this is where we monitor most of the security threats that we want to capture. Okay, so they already have template rule that we can check. For example, suspect application consent, let's say SSH, potential brute force. Okay, so it has hundred of built-in analytics rule that we can leverage, and we can create our own rule also using KQL queries. If we are familiar with KQL queries, we can create our own rules as well. We can correlate event with your threat intelligence, and with the help of Microsoft URL intelligence plus network data. It can also trigger automated playbook. So basically, automated playbook. For example, we detect threat. We want to create automated response to it. For example, once we detect threat for brute force, it will send email to your SecOps team. Okay, and then if for example you want to integrate it to Microsoft Defender, we can also do that. Okay, and then after we create the analytics rule, that's the time we can monitor the security threats under incident. And then under incident, we can also further investigate. We can check the incident type. After we uh, click the incident type, we can click the investigation, and this is the view of the investigation. As you can see here, you can check what is the affected resources, what is the IP affected, on which location the attackers located. So for us to have a better view, so I will show it on the Azure portal. So for under analytics, so we have lots of alert rules available. So it's segregate from high, medium to low. So we can select what is relevant to our relevant relevant to our organization, in which type of vulnerabilities we want to monitor. For example, this one, we want to check if whether there is a log4j vulnerability there. So, okay, we can choose what is relevant to us. Aside from here, we can also create our own if we want. If, for example, we want to customize the security alert from the if based from if it is if for example it is not available for rule template, we can create our own. And then we also have anomalies here, which we can also enable. So we can double check with which we want to incorporate to our report. For example, attempted user account for brute force. So we can also enable that. So it will add to your incident later. We can check the incident report. Okay, so once you configure the rule template and anomalies, so this will go through the active rules. So basically, this is the incident that we can capture based from what we configured here, and also what we configure if we create a custom rule. So all of the rule that we created will go to active rule. Okay, so after that, that's the time we can check the incident. Okay, so under the incident, we have the timestamp here. Um, sorry, what date we capture the incident. Okay, we have the timestamp. We have the timestamp here, and then for example, we want to fully investigate, so we can see the details. We can see the affected resources, the affected, let's say, user. We can see it here. And if we want to further investigate, so we can click the incident that we want to check, then click investigate. Okay, so from here you can detect what type of if the attacker use some script to to compromise the user, on which location the attacker is located, what type of attack the user is using. Okay, so you can see it here already. So if you check, you can uh, see the details here, the status, the timestamp. Okay, and then also we can check the event, but due to lack of permission, so this is only what we can view right now. Okay, so this is just an example view on how we can investigate. Okay, so I have limited time, so probably I just walk you through to some of the features. So after we investigate, so we have also the hunting capabilities. So if you want to continuously investigate any threat or events that is happening to our environment, so we also have hunting. They already a templated hunting capabilities. So from here, it's already segregate. For example, what type of queries do we need? We have reconnaissance queries. We have resource development. We have initial access. For example, execution, persistent, and privilege. Okay. So we can also see how the total queries here. We can create our own queries as well. This one. And if you want to run our own queries, so for example, under execution, just select run selected queries. And then from here, you can see all the running queries under threat hunting. So if you want to thoroughly investigate, so you can see the result if there's anomalies happening. Okay, so if there are results appear here, so you can check, you can further investigate to that. So for example, in AWS, we have 6 results under audit trail. Okay, so from here, you can see the tactics that the attacker is using. So for example, they use privilege escalation, they use a defense evasion. Okay, so if you want to further investigate, you just check the view result. And then this is the result. You have the timestamp. You have the event type. Okay, on which source IP, on which location. Okay, and then if you want to check all the details, you can see it here. Okay, and then if in the future you want to further investigate, you can click and add this to bookmark. So you can bookmark this incident, and then your SecOps teams can further investigate the incident. Okay. So you just simply type the note, what type of incident you are trying to bookmark. But due to limited permission, so I can't do it. But if you want to go back, for example, on the bookmark, so you can track it here. Okay. All right. So next is how we can automatically respond to the incident. So under this portal, so we can go through the automation. Okay, so we can create our own rule, or we can use the active playbooks here. For example, we already have available playbooks here. For example, we detect some anomalies, it will create a ticket on Snow if we have. Okay, and then if, for example, we want to block some IPs, so it's also available here. We also have playbooks template that we can also leverage for automatically respond to some incident. And then, for example, we want to connect to, let's say, to other platform, let's say GitHub. So we also have available communities here. So we can also integrate it to GitHub for some of our automation playbooks. Okay, so for example, we want to create a playbooks using GitHub. So there are lots of available command here, which is available. For Azure Firewall to block IP exchange, let's say Cisco Firewall. Okay, for example, we want to create sorry. For example, we want to create a ticketing system from AWS. For example, we detect incident, so it will send alert to Jira. So we can also do it here. Just simply uh, put your username and ID and just fill it everything here, and then you can automatically deploy this to your Azure Sentinel environment. Okay, so yeah, so far, do we have any questions? So feel free to ask questions. So I think I also have limited time right now. So basically, that's how it covers for Azure Sentinel. So it has the capability to collect. Okay, we saw what type of environment we can connect, on how we can detect, and also how we can investigate, and also how we can automatically respond using the automation rule and playbooks of Azure Sentinel. Okay, so Karen, I think I'm all good on my end. If so, we can still entertain if there's some other questions from our participants.
Thank you, Alex, for that detailed explanation of how Microsoft Sentinel works, right? Since it delivers an end-to-end solution for security operations. So, anyone, do you have any questions? Feel free to type in the chat box. And if you have if this is something your organization will benefit from, please do send an email to info.philippines@softline.com with the subject book a consultation June 23 webinar. And we will be happy, Alex will be happy to also answer your questions or inquiries around Microsoft Sentinel, and Joe for the Microsoft Defender, Microsoft 365. Okay, so I can see any questions from the chat box. Okay, I think they're shy right now, but definitely if you have any question, please book a consultation with us. Send an email to info.philippines@softline.com. And if Softline, you are also planning to have a digital transformation for your organization, don't hesitate to browse our use cases or write solution on our softline.ph. You may also drop an email, of course, to our info.philippines@softline.com, or follow our official pages, both Facebook and LinkedIn, at www.facebook.com/softlinephilippines and www.linkedin.com/company/softlinephilippines. Also, I'd like to invite you guys to our next event or upcoming event to next month with regards to automate business processes with Microsoft Power Platform. If this is something that interests you, please wait for our official invite posted on our LinkedIn and Facebook on July 21, Thursday, same time, same platform, and of course, I'll see you there. So if you have any questions, guys, feel free to type in the chat box. We will still be waiting for your questions to Joanne and to Alex. Alex, Joanne, if you can on your camera. Okay, so anyone here who has some questions, or if anyone we missed some questions in the chat box, please let us know. Feel free to unmute yourself, guys. We will be entertaining questions for at least 3 to 5 minutes. Let us know. Anyone? So while we're waiting, we are also showing in the screen our QR code for our survey form. Of course, we'd love to hear from you guys. If you have any comments or improvements with our topic today and also to our speakers today, please feel free to give us your general feedback and to help us improve our future events, right? So anyone, do you have any questions? So at least we'll wait for a minute or two. I hope you guys are still awake. Can you type in yes in the chat box? At least so we'll know you are still in the call, right? Even if you don't have any questions, we'll know you're still in the call and you're also listening in. Please do send your feedback. Scan the QR code showing in the screen and send your feedback to also hear your thoughts. And of course, we wanted to improve our future events, right? And if you also have some inputs on what topic would you like to hear from us in the future, please feel free to put it in our survey form. All right, so I think we don't have any questions and are all covered in our earlier session, right, Charles? Maybe I don't miss out on anything. Just checking. All good so far? All right. So again, thank you for sorry. Thank you for your participation on this webinar. We hope to see you on our next webinar. If you have any questions, clarification, and interest on our topic today about Microsoft Defender, Microsoft Sentinel from Joanne and Alex today, please do book a consultation with us. Send an email to info.philippines@softline.com and please do share your feedback with us. Scan the QR code flashing on the screen and let us know what will be the next topic that you'd like to hear from us. Also, if you'd all want to get a copy of the presentation of our speakers today, please do send your details on our survey form. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for participating to this webinar. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
oh,